Hey folks, Dr. O here. Hope you're well. Hope you're having a great day. I've got an image behind me that shows somebody public speaking. And of course, this is such a massive arena now. And I think we're very blessed in a world where there is such a great balance of men and women speakers out there coming from so many different backgrounds with such incredible messages. And it's really hard to differentiate between who is considered to be the best, because I think every speaker comes to the table with a different message. And one thing that I've learned over the years, and this is great thought for all of you, when it comes to communicating with impact and when it comes to sending a message out there, you don't have to be anybody else. That's something I learned early on. You can take elements of different speakers and people that inspire you and maybe take a little bit part of their style and their approach, but you'll have your own core message. A message that comes through you, and the more natural it feels, the more authentic it feels to you from a personal perspective, the more impact that's going to have to your audience. So if you said to me, who are the most famous public speakers out there at the moment, and why do you think they're like that? I think the truth is that the most inspirational speakers, the change that's happened in my lifetime is that there's been a shift from the big, powerful, rah-rah, motivational, boom, boom, boom type talks, which in the 80s particularly was a really big thing. People wanted to go to events, just be pumped up, inspired, yeah, and leave, to now a much different type of presentation. People that come from a really deep sense of authenticity, where their experience of life, their vulnerability, their pain, and some of the experiences they've gone through are literally laid out in front of the audience to the point where people just relate to it and are not inspired by the impact and the power and the energy of it, but actually by the truth of what that message is, without there needing to be anything carved out of it to make it grab your attention, make you go, oh, wow, look at this. It's just authenticity. That's not to say there aren't people out there that have that level of power and impact. And yes, there's a space for that. And there's some amazing people. So to try and narrow this down to the top public speakers is really difficult. So what I've done is I've put what I believe to be my sort of favorite. Oh, actually, there's a mistake there. Let me just edit this for you live, actually, while I'm doing this. There should be 6 there. So my top 6, I'll pull that back up again. And there is no order here, and the list could just go on and on. I mean, I could take you back to people like Zig Ziglar, for example, another classic speaker there. Then you've got the likes of Deepak Chopra, and I could go on and on and on. But I wanted to pick out these 6, and this is Nick Voyachik. If you haven't come across Nick Voyachik, he's absolutely inspirational. He was born into this world with all 4 limbs missing. And if you haven't had a chance to, go and watch some of the videos. Oprah did a great interview with him where he was live in an audience with her not so long ago. And it's absolutely inspiring to see this. His message is, anyone who's got a grumble in life, that's frustrated a little bit right now with an issue that they've got going on, like for example, I'm not having such a good time in my job at the moment, and it pisses you off and it draws you down. Just watch one of his videos. It absolutely inspires you to think, what the fuck am I worrying about? So he, I think, is one out there, is one of the top speakers in the world right now that's really inspiring people. I wanted to kind of give you the 6 people that, for me, have had an inspirational impact on my life, are great public speakers and capture the audiences, but also not just current, but past as well. Another one is Mel Robbins. Now, Mel Robbins created the 5-second rule, and her story is really powerful. And actually, I don't know if it was 2 or 3 years ago, she was the most booked public speaker in the world. She's phenomenal in her style. I love her raw authenticity, the no bullshit approach. She just tells it as it is. And she talks about closing the gap between fear and action, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, bang, do what you need to do. So she's got a great message there, definitely worth listening to, and certainly somebody that is engaging, and she has that great feminine flow about her as well. So well worth watching. Now, Dr. Wayne Dyer sadly has passed away now, but he was somebody who, for me, was a real inspiration for many, many, many years, and still is. I mean, his legacy lives on through his books and his audios and his videos, but he's worth watching for so many reasons. He has this centered spiritual nature about him. One of the first books that I read from him was The Power of Intention. It really struck a chord with me. And it resonated to the point where I actually was moved to tears. He's got one of those lovely voices like hot chocolate at night. He takes you down this path of being so relaxed. Incredibly inspirational. Go take the time to watch him. Then you've got Brene Brown. And Brene Brown's power is in her authenticity and her vulnerability, which, interestingly enough, is she became very famous through things like a TED talk she did on vulnerability. She talks about it's okay to experience being vulnerable in any situation. And actually that vulnerability, that authenticity of who you are as a person where you feel vulnerable is actually a power, not a weakness. And she's funny. She just grabs your attention in such a real way that you're just hooked by her. So she's a great public speaker, and I do encourage you to go and watch her as well. Then we've got Les Brown, who's old school, and I put him in there because I've actually shared the stage with Les Brown. And he is, as I have done with, same. When I talk about the stage, you go to an event and you're a speaker at the same event with one of these great people. Same thing with Tony Robbins as well. And actually, I got time to spend time with Les some years ago now, probably about 4 or 5 years ago, where we were in India together and we were traveling around to different events. Ended up on a bus with him and a few other friends that were also speakers, and we went off to the Taj Mahal. And he's just a lovely gentleman. He's probably late 70s now. And Les Brown, he wrote a book called Live Your Dreams. And I was listening to Les Brown when I was in my 20s, which is like over 30 years ago, folks, 30 years. And let me just put this back on so we're coming to focus again. He's powerful, he's inspirational, he's one of the most successful motivational speakers in history, highest paid. And his whole message is about you've got to be hungry, you've got to pursue your passion, your dream, and be fearless. And if you go onto YouTube and you watch some of his videos, yeah, he just grabs your attention. Even at the age he's at right now, he's always had this way, just mesmerizing the audience, but he's got that deep, powerful, spiritual voice. Well worth listening to. And then finally, there's Tony Robbins, who isn't necessarily a public speaker and probably want to be put in that category, but he is a great speaker. And I've been blessed to be able to have been part of his journey and followed him for many, many years, to the point where I actually, when I was younger, I used to listen to him as I did with Les Brown. And then I got invited to events with 5, 10, 15,000 people, where he was one of the speakers and I was one of the speakers. So for me, it was a real privilege to be in that environment, in that same stage environment with somebody with his capacity and the ability to change and impact people's lives the way he does. He is an incredible coach, interventionalist, world leader, I think, in so many ways in the things that he's done. He's 60 years of age now, and yet he's been doing this for like 40 years. And he's a great person at inspiring people to develop systems and tools and models for being successful in so many different areas of your life, right through from your beliefs, your values. And he has this deep, powerful sense of way of engaging an audience. And he has that power strategy, whereas Wayne Dyer is softer, gentler, more spiritual. And there's no right or wrong. You just tune into different people when you want to pick up some great messages from each of them. And I could carry on with so many other people as well. So I hope this has been of use to you and maybe giving you some inspiration to go out and look at some great speakers out there and just, have them there in the background when you need to be inspired, but also to help you get some tools and tips and techniques and just observing the way they carry themselves as professional public speakers.